Hello and welcome to the Curtis Podcast Network. I'm your host, Curtis Brown, and this is the 21st episode of This Sports Show, a production of Curtis Podcast Networks. Quick shout out to Arcade Dreamer for the instrumental version of Dangerous from his debut album, Born in the Midnight. Available anywhere music can be listened to, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, etc. Follow him on Facebook and Instagram at Arcade Dreamer Official, Twitter at Arcade_Dreamer, YouTube at Arcade Dreamer, as well as Bandcamp, Arcade Dreamer. You can follow Curtis Podcast Network on social media, Facebook at Curtis Podcast Network, Twitter at Curtis Network, apostrophe after the S. Good show tonight. Me and Cullen going to be carving up some sports info. Like I mentioned, Cullen's here live with us. And, we both predicted that the winner of the Super Bowl last week was going to score at least 31 points. Cullen chose the Chiefs. I chose the Bucks. We were both wrong about how many points the loser would score, but regardless. Cullen, how was your week, man?
You know, it was pretty good. I did not bet either team to win the game, although I did bet that it would go over. I also did not make that bet correctly. It's a sad day. But luckily, I wasn't too sure about that either. So I only put $5 on it. Nothing big, you know.
Yeah.
I can risk losing $5 sometimes. But right on the other side of that, I won a parlay with like 7 teams. And, got all that money back and plus some more. Yeah. So, we're living pretty good right now.
Well, that's good. The Buccaneers continued the trend, if you will, of 18 of the last 21 Super Bowls being won by a team in white jersey. And it's a really odd thing. And honestly, when I was finding out about that, it was kind of weird. But Marty Schottenheimer passed away yesterday at the age of 77. One of, I think by win percentage, I think he's number 6 or number 8. I had it pulled up in front of me earlier, and I should have written it down, but I didn't. But 200 wins, he had 126 losses, and 1 tie. So, and he coached from the age of 41 to 63 as a head coach. And before that, he was a linebackers coach for the Giants and the Lions, and then eventually the defensive coordinator of the Browns before he took over in 1984. A lot of people, a lot of NFL players, really respect and admired him. And several people have already talking about how this was a huge loss for everyone that personally was impacted by him, how great of a leader he was, and how he led by example. And then, what was it?
You feel for anybody like that. Anybody that he once coached. It sucks to lose a coach. I understand that. So
yeah,
it's definitely one of those things that they have a impact on your life for however long they were in your life, because you see them every day for 8 months probably.
Yeah,
9 months maybe, depending on what you're doing. So yeah, it sucks for a lot of people, and heart goes out for all y'all.
Mm-hmm. He lost his life yesterday with losing the battle with Alzheimer's at the age of 77. But now let's move on to a little bit of the recap of the Super Bowl and have a little bit more of a positive spin now, okay? First, Cullen, let me get your opinion on how the Super Bowl went down. Let's just see how close we are.
Well, I'll start with Tampa Bay's defense played amazing. Now, that being said, I don't think that it was anything due to coaching. I don't think it was anything other than the Chiefs just being hurt on their 2 offensive tackles.
Yeah.
And the Bucks abusing that, which is, if I was a coach, I would do the same thing. So I don't blame them. They won the game fair and square. They did their job. They won the game. But that being said, I would have liked to see what had happened if people were healthy. Obviously, you can't go back and fix anything or, anything like that. But I think that Patrick Mahomes showed a lot.
Yeah, he did.
That was the most effort I've ever seen a quarterback display.
The play where he was horizontal and threw the pass and it hit dude in the helmet in the end zone and he dropped it. Like at that moment, I was just like, whoa, this dude is really out here just like giving everything and nobody's helping. Like there's literally zero help.
Absolutely no help from either side of the Chiefs.
Like
defense didn't help.
No,
offense was doing nothing.
Zero help whatsoever. Tom Brady, he didn't really like light it up pass yards wise, but the three touchdowns early on in the first half really kind of set the trend for the whole game, honestly. And you thought that like coming out of halftime, the Chiefs would have some sort of answer defensively for Tom Brady, and in a way, they did. Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't he throw? I mean, weren't all three of his touchdown passes in the first half? I think he was, but I could be wrong. I know Leonard Fournette scored one, and then they kicked a field goal.
Well, it was scored at halftime. It was like
21 to 6.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean it sounds right, because he hit Mike Evans for the first one, and then Gronk. No, he didn't.
He didn't hit Mike Evans.
No, he
had Cameron Brate.
Yeah, and then Gronk twice.
Yeah.
No, he hit Antonio Brown.
And
it was Antonio Brown and Gronk twice.
Yeah, and it wasn't Cameron Brate.
Yeah, no. And then Leonard Fournette scored one on the ground.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I think Antonio Brown caught the one right before halftime. Because the Chiefs got the ball with like no time remaining. And just couldn't really do anything with it after that. But I honestly, like, that was the most disheveled I've ever seen an entire offense that was like God tier.
Yeah, and honestly,
since like Peyton Manning and the Broncos got obliterated by the Seahawks,
it's not like they did a bad job running the ball.
No,
when they ran the ball, they actually did decently, and they just kind of went away from it because they have Patrick Mahomes. But I think that like in this game situation, you got to, as a coach, you have to go into the game and digest who you have where and what you have as your assets. You don't have two starting tackles.
Doesn't matter.
Other team knows this.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. So he's going to be running for his life.
You have to run the ball a decent amount and get the defense at least thinking that there actually might be a run on this play, and instead of just thinking, okay, pass.
Right.
It's just, I don't get how Andy Reid coached that game.
I didn't understand. I think he had a little bit more going on in his mind.
The enemy, I guess, because it's not like he didn't do anything. They didn't change anything at halftime.
No, there was no adjustments. Yeah, when they did run it, they ran it pretty well, but it just kind of got away from them really quickly.
Yep.
They at times seemed like, all right, they're driving the ball, but then they get down to the red zone and nothing. You know,
all right, we made it down here on a run game and a couple of passes.
Yeah.
And let's just go
and
three passes
by
in a
that
row.
time, it was already like 28-9.
Yeah.
And they're just hitting Travis Kelce underneath because that's what the defense is allowing.
Yeah, of course. They'll let you get down the field. They knew that they could get down the field. They knew they weren't going to just stop him from moving the ball anyway.
Right.
But
he took what they gave them, and they didn't give them much.
Red zone is a whole different animal, and if you don't have those tackles in the red zone,
Facts.
when the defense is on and they're on every play, because that's when the defense makes their money.
Facts.
If they let somebody down there, that's not even that big of a deal. If they only allow 3 points, no, that's really not that big of a deal in the grand scheme. They did it 3 times. They only allowed 3 points.
Yeah.
So,
well, no, they were down there more than that.
Right, but 3 times they only allowed 3 points.
9 points. How long were the?
Right.
I mean, I don't know how long the field goals were, but
one of them was longer. But I don't know.
I mean, regardless, they at least kicked a field goal down there, and then eventually, I think later on in like the fourth quarter, they had the opportunity to kick a field goal and didn't. Sorry, my computer is telling me that my audio interface is being all weird about this Bluetooth something. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I imagine that this game was going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
And I imagine that this was going to be two great offensive-minded coaches squaring off, and two defenses that were actually better than you think. The Bucs defense was actually a lot better than you think, and the Chiefs defense is just better than you think. Tyrann Mathieu has played quietly a really phenomenal season. And you could kind of see that frustration bubbling up in him when he and Tom Brady got into it on the field late in the game. But that game was...
I don't know all of Harrison Butker's field goals, but he at least made one from 52.
Okay.
So
That makes sense. All right. Well, but yeah, no, I mean, I basically predicted that the Bucs would win because you chose the Chiefs, and I just wanted to be different. But I think that's really how this Super Bowl was on paper supposed to be. It was just a toss-up.
yeah, I mean, I thought it was a toss-up beforehand.
Yeah.
I mean, I chose Chiefs because if I had to choose a team, I was going to choose Chiefs.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure I said it on the podcast that I thought that the spread was a good spread, but I wanted to make a dangerous pick and take the spread.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to a slew of other topics in the recap and then looking forward.
The Chiefs only made it to the red zone 3 times.
Okay. So you're right. I mean, at least they had a short one. So Brady is like undoubtedly the GOAT, right?
I mean, yeah, he is definitely the GOAT as of this moment.
Yeah.
And yes, he is the GOAT. One day, I hope Patrick Mahomes surpasses him as the GOAT.
So does that make him baby GOAT?
I believe it does, but I almost don't even want to give it to him yet.
Yeah.
If he can make the Super Bowl for a third time
In a
row,
Yeah.
then he's definitely baby GOAT.
I mean, you're not wrong. Like it's hard to do to make a three-peat appearance in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Tom Brady's never done it.
Tom Brady's never done it. However, he's done 3 in 4 years, and the only other team that's done it recently was the Bills in the early 90s, and they did it 4 straight years.
So we could be looking at this as a potential Super Bowl rematch next year, because Bruce Arians has said that almost all of the key components are going to come back.
Yes. And Mike Evans has already said that he was going to take a pay cut to help retain people.
And I very well believe that this team's put together well enough and they're young enough on defense to do this thing again. Another year under Brady and Evans' belt, I think will be dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, he already had 13 touchdowns, and he barely got 1,000 yards, but...
Yeah, but in the playoffs, I don't feel like they connected. I feel like there was a disconnect in the playoffs. And I think part of that might have just been Tom Brady being like, okay, I have Mike Evans out here. I can just chuck the ball up to him.
Right.
And that part I get, you got to have a guy that if you're going to throw to somebody on a play and nobody's open, you throw to him.
Right.
So I get it. But at the same time, you almost would figure that he almost gave away the Packers game, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, he did a great job in the Super Bowl. He game managed the heck out of it.
Yeah, he did. He made some clutch throws at really important times.
Yes.
Now, there's also this dichotomy of this whole Super Bowl. A lot of people are talking about how many penalties there were on the Chiefs. All the pass interference.
There's 11 penalties on the Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean, how many yards was that? 120 yards.
Uh-huh.
That's a lot of penalty yards, folks.
Tampa was penalized 4 times for 39.
Wow. I mean, that's a big discrepancy right there. That's
essentially an entire
football field, end zone
drive.
to end zone. Yeah.
Yeah. If you pinned them way down, they're getting in the end zone off that.
Yeah. I mean, 120 yards. That's 2 drives on offense. Like, if you start at an average of the 40, and then like the away 40 or whatever, and then
Yeah, that's 60.
Yeah, so that's 2 offensive drives.
Right.
And
I was talking about if you subtracted the 49,
oh yeah,
the 39 from 120.
yeah, that's a whole.
Yeah.
That's one whole long ass drive.
Yeah.
And that right there, along with a lot of drops, like a very uncharacteristic amount of drops from the Chiefs receivers last night. And maybe it wasn't that uncharacteristic. I didn't really check all the stats before to really back that claim, but if I'm not mistaken, like that's not what the Chiefs are all about. They typically catch that stuff, and then Tyreek Hill runs past everybody because he's the cheetah and he's fast as crap.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, because I had to listen to the game on the radio for a little bit while I was driving.
Yeah.
There was a part of the game where they were talking about how Tyreek Hill didn't have many targets or receptions yet.
Well, he dropped one very early, right in his freaking hands.
Yeah.
And that moment, I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, this over's not hitting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a sad time.
Well, I'm in the car listening to this, and they're talking about Tyreek Hill not having any targets or anything. And they're lining up, and all of a sudden it's a false start on Tyreek Hill. And I was waiting on, I can't remember the guy's name who was on the radio that night, but I was waiting on him to make some sort of stupid comment about that gives him a cheetah and a whole other meaning, huh? I was waiting on that. It never happened, but that was my first thought, because I'm a father now and I get to make those kind of stupid jokes. Suit me. All right. But yeah, there was a lot of things that went wrong for the Kansas City offense.
Yeah, tons of things.
If you even have,
and honestly, I want to say
the tackles.
He got rushed. He got hurried 28 times. That's the most in Super Bowl history.
Yes.
Tom Brady got hurried the least amount of times in Super Bowl history.
How many times did he get hurried?
I don't even know, but I heard that.
I did hear that. I've heard something similar to that, at least. But I think, God, what was it? Well, that Pat Mahomes scrambled for 497 yards.
Yeah, he was out
in
here
the process. I mean, I'm not even, this kid literally gave everything for this game. He's out here getting surgery the next day on his toe because his toe hurt that bad. He had a neck injury the week before. His left tackle tore his Achilles. His right tackle did something to his knee. And then all of a sudden, they just completely abandoned the running game. The Buccaneers had the worst defense in the NFL when it comes to running backs catching passes out of the backfield.
Tom Brady was pressured 4 times in the Super Bowl.
Wow. That's pretty low. Was he sacked once? I think Frank Clark maybe got him. I don't know. I feel like that's accurate.
I don't know.
All right. Cullen's going to dig on that one. Meanwhile, so are you already telling me that you think this is actually going to be a rematch for 21-22?
Yes, he was sacked once.
Okay.
And yes, I am telling you that this is going to be the rematch.
Next year.
Yeah.
That'd be definitely an interesting rematch, because it's going to be interesting to see how the Chiefs managed to come back from this, because their tackles were old anyway. So they're not going to get any younger next season, and they're going to need to draft linemen to make anything happen for the near future, because if you look at even someone down in Houston who wants out right now, one of the best quarterbacks in the game, in my opinion, doesn't have an offensive line, so he's running for his damn life the whole time. Ends up throwing some bad passes, costs them the game, but they're pretty close, and it's ultra competitive, and all of a sudden, you look up and they're 4-12. I'm not saying that that's necessarily going to be the future for Mahomes, but there is typically a Super Bowl slump. I imagine that one of these teams will experience it. Mahomes and the Chiefs have not had the Super Bowl hangover, the Super Bowl slump. We'll see if that continues. We'll see. There's an odd, obscure stat about how many Super Bowl teams that the next season didn't even make the playoffs. So I'm going to try to find that. But Colin, how much longer do you think Brady's got left? I read somewhere that he and Giselle are talking about the possibility of him playing past the age of 45.
That's hard to say. I mean, he's already made it this far, which is already
A lot
crazy,
farther.
and
Yeah.
it is, hats off to him for being able to put this effort in and still be 40 touchdowns and 12 interceptions type of quarterback.
Yeah.
I
mean, they say he takes such immaculate care of his body.
Of course he does. He probably goes home and puts himself in a hydro chamber and just sleeps in it.
Yeah.
He's just I'm going to stay 27, Tom Brady.
If I'm not mistaken, there was a Netflix show that had Paul Rudd in it. And Paul Rudd gets an invitation to some creepy spa. And
Tom Brady comes out of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
What is that called?
I don't know.
But you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen it.
I think we watched it together. I don't know what it's called, but if you're listening to this, anybody who knows what the hell we're talking about, please let us know. You can contact us at Curtis Podcast Network on Facebook and on Twitter at Curtis Podcast, or Curtis Network. Sorry, Curtis Network with an apostrophe after the S.
And if you get that show right, we'll give you a drawing of a drawing.
We'll put you in a drawing for a drawing.
Exactly. That's what I was saying, and you understood it.
Because you're an educated listener.
Exactly.
And you've been here before.
So on the other side of this, Tom Brady, I know that he's going to play till he's 45. And I believe that this man is going to be successful until he's 45. But I don't know how he can hold up this much longer.
Yeah.
This man's just it's age. You can't stop it, I don't think. I mean, maybe he found a way. He's got enough money. I don't know.
That's true.
Maybe he knows enough people in enough places, knows enough faces
to get things
and doesn't
done.
care about the races.
Mm-hmm.
So he's out here just, I'm going to tie up my laces. It don't matter.
That was Rap Master Cullen. Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely some sort of secret spice he's putting in his own chili to make sure that those wrinkles don't appear on his face. I mean, honestly, the guy, there was a part in the Super Bowl where they did an aging effect on Tom Brady over the last 20 years of his career. And from his rookie picture all the way to now.
Yeah.
And he progressively got more attractive.
Well, yeah. That's what I'm saying about this man.
It doesn't make
he put himself in a hydro chamber, and he gets older, but he's also
younger or staying the same age.
His inner body is staying younger, and his outside body is just getting slightly older. Like he was 22 in that first pick, and then now he's 26 on the outside.
I mean, honestly, he doesn't even have he might be dyeing his hair.
No.
You don't think?
He might. Yeah, he definitely dyes his hair, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, it just
he had gray hair, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, and then now he doesn't
not
have
a lot of gray hair, just a
touch of gray.
Yeah, there you go, exactly. Yeah. And now he's I got a full black ass head of hair. That is what I'm talking about. This man, yeah.
Do you remember
he's doing something, rubbing some oil?
Do you remember a few years?
Maybe Giselle.
Giselle's got more money than he does.
Exactly.
I'm talking about.
They got so much money together, though.
Oh God.
That it's just
they could buy a team.
And she knows so many people from the modeling industry that
that's true.
You know that
we're not even. I didn't even think about that, honestly. Like, she's the one probably doing all this. Like,
Yeah.
Tom, you're going to live forever. You're too great to not have for the rest of humanity. So we're going to make sure that you never age. And you're going to never not be able to play quarterback.
Like I bet he rubs so many ointments or she rubs so many ointments on
Bro, they
his
got enough
hand.
money to pay people to rub ointment on them.
Okay, they probably do. They're probably like, all right, ointment time.
You ever seen the picture of him like French kissing his kids?
Oh yeah.
Maybe he gets them to do it.
No,
I don't mean it like that. I don't mean it like that. It sounds like that in the context the way I said it, because I mentioned that he French kissed him, but
he did French kiss
that was
his kids.
Why are we tonguing?
Whatever. But at the same time, I'm glad my dad never French kissed me in public.
Yeah, especially right after winning the Super Bowl when everybody's notoriously taking an ass load of pictures.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But I guess they were young, and at the same time, it is Tom Brady.
Yeah. I guess everybody's got to have a weird thing, and that's his weird thing.
That's going to be their weird thing for the rest of their lives.
Slightly too affectionate with his children. Oh, man.
I really love you guys.
What? Okay. Chiefs or Bucks? Which one is the team to beat next year?
I gotta say that's still going to be the Chiefs. I don't think that the Bucks will do much more than they did this year. They'll probably make it back to the Super Bowl, like I already said, but I don't expect them to win more than 12 games. I know they won 11-5 this year, so they get another win.
Well, Drew Brees is going to be retiring. That's why he took that pay cut, so that when he did retire, it wasn't dead money against the Saints cap.
Yeah. Well, okay. But either way, still think they get 12 wins, and I think that Kansas City is going to have another 15-1 or 14-2 season. It just depends on. I guess if anybody in the AFC is good enough to possibly take them out of the one spot.
Yeah.
But I doubt it unless somehow Buffalo gets better. But with the pay cut of salaries coming, I don't really understand how that will happen.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, the salary cap is supposed to go down this coming season. I've seen figures between 185 million and 175 million. Now, what that means essentially is that is the total limit of how much they can spend on players for the franchise. And there are quite a few teams that are going to be over the cap and going to have to make moves, salary restructures, contract renegotiations, and all this different stuff. And we'll get into that in just a little bit of just in a minute. But who's your underdog pick for the AFC and the NFC?
My underdog pick?
Yeah. So
what does this classify as?
Any team that you feel could challenge immediately or is a dark horse. Somebody who's maybe last year was like a year away or maybe 2 years away. So like the Dolphins for me would be a sneaky.
That'd be your dark horse?
My dark horse.
Yeah. Okay, that's what we're talking about. All right. I would have to say...
let's just focus on the AFC first.
That I'm still going to have to go with... I'm going to have to go with the Bills. I think the Bills have the best chance with...
Well, they're the best challenger, but your dark horse, though.
Yeah, but my dark horse... I'd have to say that the dark horse of this said AFC may have to be the Indianapolis Colts.
Well, it depends on what they do at QB.
Exactly. And that's why it's even a dark horse.
That's true. That's a pretty dark horse.
Exactly.
My dark horse pick and then my underdog pick for the AFC in the Super Bowl. So basically, that's what I'm, like, the favorite pick in the AFC to make it back to the Super Bowl would probably be the Chiefs. The underdog pick would probably be the Bills. And then your dark horse team in the AFC, for me, the Miami Dolphins. Last year they were, actually they considered themselves to be a year or two away from contention, and then, wound up square in the thick of contention, and had the Titans ended up losing week 17 to the Texans, and the Dolphins had ended up winning, then the Dolphins would have been in the playoffs and the Titans would not have been. But that's not how the cookie crumbled. And, they're trying to figure out exactly how they're grading Tua. Apparently there's a huge push for them to try to get Deshaun Watson. And we'll dive a little bit more into that here in a little bit later. But they've got, I think, 2 first-round draft picks again. They got the Texans' first-round draft pick for this season, so pick number 3, the Dolphins.
Yep.
So they got pick number 3, and then whatever their pick was, so like 20-something. And probably like 20 or 21. Wait, how many teams go to the playoffs? 14?
How many teams go to the playoffs?
Yeah, it's 14 teams now.
Yeah.
So, math. 18? Yeah, 18. All right, sorry. Yeah, I'm going to keep that pause in there just so you guys know how hard we struggle at math sometimes. But just know that we try to check it for you. That's basically the equivalent of showing your work in math class. So, we brought up some interesting things there, but like NFC, who's obviously the favorite is the Bucks, maybe. Your underdog pick, who you got? And then your dark horse.
Okay. I will go with the Rams as my underdog pick.
I love that as your underdog pick. I love that.
And then my dark horse, I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys.
Interesting. That's an interesting dark horse. Huh. All right, so for me, my underdog pick is the Seattle Seahawks. And then my dark horse is the Rams.
What?
Yes.
How is that your dark horse, though?
It's my dark horse.
They made the playoffs.
Yeah, but Matt Stafford is not a
That can't be your dark horse.
That's my dark horse pick to win the Super Bowl. To win the Super Bowl. They changed quarterbacks. Now, ideally, you look at Matt Stafford as an upgrade over Jared Goff, right? But you don't know. You don't know what's coming. I don't know exactly what kind of salary cap situation they're in now. I do believe that they got all of Jared Goff's contract off of their books. So they should have a shitload of cap money to put even more items and pieces around and bolster this roster. All right, fine, I'll flip them just for you. So my underdog pick is the Rams, and then the dark horse is the Seahawks. It just makes sense, Russell.
Neither one of them makes sense. Neither one of those are dark horses.
The Seahawks have no offensive line, and there's rumors
it doesn't matter.
And there's rumors that Russell Wilson might want to leave.
Might.
That's how all this stuff started with Deshaun. Look, Pete Carroll's a defensive-minded guy, and they just brought in a new offensive coordinator that likes to run the football. And when I say likes, I mean that's all he wants to do. Not literally, because it's the NFL, but I mean, last year we were letting Russ cook, and then now we're going to be going Russ at half capacity. You know what I mean? Like, we're coveting Russell Wilson as an offensive coordinator. That's what's happening right now. So I don't think he likes the direction of the Seahawks from reports. So if this remains true, there are a lot of question marks going on there about the quarterback position. And that would give them a lot of draft capital, and they could actually, put some other pieces together. Because honestly, that Seattle Seahawks team is ripe for an implosion. But that's why I think they're actually a pretty good dark horse pick, because I think they're a year away from that implosion. Bobby Wagner's going to be like 32 years old or something. Maybe even 33. I don't exactly remember how old he is at the moment, but
I mean, whatever. You pick who you want, but I don't think that's a dark horse.
I mean,
personal opinion.
That is a personal opinion, sir. All right. So next, does Jimmy G get traded, and if so, where? For me, I think the ideal trading spot for Jimmy Garoppolo, back to New England.
Yeah, that would not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
That would be very ideal, I think, for Bill Belichick at least.
But where else would he go? I'm trying to think about that. Like, who would trade for Jimmy Garoppolo? Because I feel like you're trading for him to basically, like, either start or compete for a starting job. Because I'm pretty sure he's got, like, starting caliber money, if you will. Or at least closer to it. But I don't know what they're going to do with him. Because they're desperately trying to find a new quarterback. They're also in the thick of trying to get Deshaun Watson. Alex Smith is rumored to be contemplating retirement, but if he doesn't want to leave, Ron Rivera doesn't know what his status is going to be. Do you think if Ron Rivera and the Washington football team do not re-sign Alex Smith, do you think he's done?
Yes. Until a quarterback gets hurt at some point, and then he might come in as like a late signee.
Okay. I mean, I get that. I mean, that would make a lot of sense. Speaking of sense, what about Carson Wentz? What kind of sense does it make in your mind for the Eagles last year to go out and draft Jalen Hurts and then not have any faith in either quarterback that they have on their roster?
Well, the Eagles themselves actually have faith in Carson Wentz. That's why they got rid of Doug Peterson, because Doug Peterson did not like Carson Wentz.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But Carson Wentz got a lot of dubs for him.
Yeah, but he liked Jalen Hurts more. And he drafted Jalen Hurts.
Interesting. I had not heard of his favoritism.
Yeah.
Huh. So you're saying he stays there, Carson Wentz?
No.
So where do you think he's going to wind up? I think he'll wind up probably with the Colts.
That would be a very likely landing spot. I also could see I could see a lot of things happening.
They could trade him to the Steelers.
I could see a quarterback swap between the Eagles and the Texans, and then a whole bunch of picks for Deshaun Watson. I could see a quarterback. I could see Carson Wentz going to Jacksonville.
Well, that one doesn't make as much sense because basically they're going to draft a quarterback with a first overall pick.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
Yep.
So,
but what I think, and people can take this how they want, but Trevor Lawrence just had shoulder surgery, not on his throwing arm, but on his other arm. I don't know how much that will actually throw off of him, and I don't know if you're going to get started week 1 anyway. So I mean, it's still pretty common that a quarterback just gets sat week 1.
Not when you're drafted first overall. When you're drafted first overall, you're expected to come in and play immediately, barring injury, of course. Now, that might be his circumstance, but you better believe if they take him first overall, he's going to be the starter.
But what I think might happen is that he goes to Jacksonville, they get like it's just essentially just getting rid of Carson Wentz. They give him like crappy stuff. Don't even give him like anything good. A couple of later picks. Then Jacksonville stays with that, gets the first pick, gets another like amazing wide receiver, or gets Devontae Smith, or not Waddle or Devontae Smith or anyone. I mean, there's just a lot of possibilities that if the Jacksonville Jaguars played their cards right, they could get a quarterback and then also other things that will greatly help their team. Now, I don't know if that's the smartest thing. Trevor Lawrence might end up coming in and being the elite of all elite, but I don't personally believe that he will be the elite of all elite. I think that he will be a good quarterback. I don't think that he will be a year after year Patrick Mahomes type quarterback, though. I don't think he's comparable, honestly. I think he's more like a... Oh, man. I would say he's a little bit... He'll be the broke man's Josh Allen.
I could see that. That's actually a pretty fair comparison, I think. I think Trevor Lawrence is a little shorter, if I'm not mistaken. Cause he's like 6'6" or something, right?
I think Trevor Lawrence is like 6'5", but yeah.
I mean,
I could be wrong.
All right, so let's just say that the Jets pull off a trade and they get either Jimmy G, Carson Wentz, or Ben Roethlisberger or something.
Trevor Lawrence is 6'6".
Okay, so they're the same size basically. Where do the Jets pick is number 2?
Yeah, I believe.
Okay, so if they're picking number 2, they're probably going to get Fields. And if they get Fields, they don't need Darnold anymore.
But they're getting calls about Darnold every day. The Jets are.
Right. Because everybody knows they're going to take Justin Fields. Presumably.
But if they don't trade Sam Darnold, do you think that they get somebody to help them? Do you think they get somebody to help Sam Darnold out and they still believe in him? Because I don't think they don't.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Sam Darnold might find himself in a backup role or traded to San Francisco or potentially even Dallas to be a backup behind Dak Prescott in case Dak gets hurt. Or, and I just had this thought, Dallas, they like Dak Prescott, but I don't think they love Dak Prescott. And I don't think that they shouldn't love him because he's put up some pretty good numbers, but...
Yeah. Jaguars, Jets, and then the Dolphins are third.
Yeah.
The Falcons. I'd be interested to see how the Falcons do.
Yeah.
Because really, I guess they need defense or a halfback, but no, they're not going to draft a halfback that early. So,
I mean, they do need some defense because they get gashed, but they also might be looking at a QB because I know Arthur Smith, the former offensive coordinator for the Titans, he might be looking for somebody a little bit more mobile and somebody not as long in the tooth, which might also put Matt Ryan on the marketplace. Now, I don't.
So how about if Sam Darnold went to the Falcons? They traded. They traded.
I kind of like that, but they trade. Hold up, this would be such a huge deal, because if they did this, what if they traded Sam Darnold for Matt Ryan straight up, or like they swapped first round draft picks as well?
Yeah, and then Matt Ryan would be the backup for sure to Justin Fields, because then they would pick Justin Fields, and they would have Matt Ryan mentor.
No. Okay, so the Jets would get Matt Ryan, and they would swap first round draft picks. So
Yeah,
the Falcons. I mean, okay, I see. The Falcons are still number 4, so they could potentially get Fields if they wanted him, but I don't know. We'll see. I think.
I mean they would have to trade. Thinking about it, the Falcons would have to trade more than just Matt Ryan. They probably would have to give. Maybe they would give some second round picks and some third round picks.
Potentially.
I don't know. But
I'm just trying to put the
I think
hypothetical out there.
Sam Darnold would actually be pretty decent in that offense.
I think he would look at Sam Darnold as a poor man's Ryan Tannehill, because Tannehill showed promise in Miami, but under Arthur Smith, he was able to highlight his strengths and to make Ryan Tannehill, at least in some people's eyes, in the argument and discussion for MVP last year. Until Derrick Henry just decided, I'm going to run for 2,000 yards. Okay. And that leads us to, we're going to give some over-the-cap information about the Texans and the Titans, just for some giggles. We're going to work some kinks out of this. This will eventually be something we do all the time coming up in the offseason as, players get signed and trades are made. We're going to deep dive into how much room everybody's got, what their prospects are looking like, and their draft positioning. So, Cullen, why don't you go ahead with whatever you've got for the Titans?
Yeah. All right. Well, the Titans' upcoming free agents. We've got Clowney, Corey Davis, Daquan Jones. Really, that's pretty much most of the big names. But Jonnu Smith, Kalu for any of you big Titans fans out there, Jayon Brown. Well, I guess not all the big names. Desmond King. So we got a lot of people to re-sign. We definitely stacked trying to get things going this year. Would be a surprise if we get to keep most of these people, but we'll just have to see. So I think that one of the things that we'll do is find a way to keep Corey Davis, and also keep Jonnu Smith and Jayon Brown. I think most of these other people will end up being cut or not re-signed. I just think that Daquan Jones has never lived up to his potential. He's 30 years old now, and just not doing great, not doing big things, not what I like to see. He gets bullied. He's a huge dude and just gets bullied all the time. So it's very frustrating to see, and I would like if the Titans got rid of him. So I would say he's gone. Gostowski's gone. I mean, if we could keep Desmond King somehow, that'd be great. But we really need an edge rusher in our draft. So I think that Azeez Ojulari from Georgia would be a great fit. And honestly, he is just an animal. I don't know any other way to say it. He is a freak. See, I mean, dude just moves. And when you're 6'3", like 240, I mean, you can move like that. He's got the speed of like Harold Landry, but he's much stronger. I mean, he's a perfect fit with our 3-4, so I love that. Then our second round, I would like to see either a corner or a receiver. I don't know who all will be there, but there's a guy from Ohio State that's wouldn't probably go in the first round, and probably might be able to slip to us. He's pretty fast, and also, I mean, he's got pretty good hands. I think his name's like Chris Olave.
I think I know who you're talking about.
So I would like to get him on our team. I think that would be instrumental to getting a lot of things going, especially if we don't re-sign Corey Davis. If we don't re-sign Corey Davis, we definitely have to get a receiver, and that would definitely be why we'd pick a receiver in the second round instead of more defense. So moving on, third round, we have 2 third-round picks.
Is it Olave?
Olave, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a good need for interior defensive line. Again, I think Daquan Jones is gone, so we're going to need another body in there. And T.R. Tart, he's coming on, but I don't know if I want to trust him in an every down situation. So I'm going to have to go with.
Where are you going with? I think they'll bring back Daquan.
Why do you think they're going to bring back Daquan?
They're going to bring him back cheap.
He ain't come back cheap.
I bet he does.
I'm going to go with Marvin Wilson.
Okay.
Marvin Wilson is from Florida State. Big dude. I think it's really kind of what we need. It'd either be that or a guard.
Yeah. Probably another tackle, because Isaiah Wilson didn't even play, but like at all.
Yeah, but I hope Isaiah Wilson just somehow grows up, because apparently he's just extremely childish, and just everything he does is to give back to like his homies. Like, and it's not about like furthering anything in life. It's just like it's not the fact that bringing people up with you is bad, but when bringing the people up with you are dragging you down, that's bad.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's experiencing. And you just hope that it doesn't end in a bad place. Right. I hope that he ends up coming on next year and he does something big, but it's hard to say because he kind of looks like a dumb sack of rocks when he's sitting there on the sidelines.
Yeah. That's a big dumb sack of rocks if he doesn't even play. I mean, like, this might be like the greatest con job ever if it comes out that like he literally doesn't even want to play. Like he literally just got drafted so he could get paid.
Yeah.
And then like just gone.
I don't care about being here.
Yeah.
You guys are funny.
I'm huge. I could be like a wrestler or something.
I'm going to just get paid a little bit just for sitting on the bench, and then I'm going to go ahead and be a professional wrestler.
Yeah. So what else you got?
Do
you have any players you'd like to see the Titans trade?
Adam Humphries. I'd love to see that. Get him out of here. Tired of that, man. Need to get tired of that. Who would I like to see them trade? That's a great question. Malcolm Butler.
That's an unpopular opinion amongst Titans fans.
Yes, but he's getting older, and I don't like him anyway. He's slow.
What's his cap looking like?
Malcolm Butler's cap, you know what I'm talking about? His cap. Yeah, his cap. It's looking. It's looking real good. I tell you.
What does that even mean?
You don't even want to know.
I do want to know.
Honestly.
I mean, why would I not want to know? That's what I'm asking you.
So his base salary is $11,100,000. His bonus is $2 million. He's got a roster bonus of $500,000, and he gets a $500,000 bonus for every game. And then he also gets a workout bonus of $100,000.
What? That's a lot.
Yeah. So his cap number is $14,200,000.
And that's like against the cap, like dead money, or is that like a savings? Like if they cut him, will they save $14 million?
If they cut him, they will save $4 million.
And what day is that? Is that on the post June 1st or?
That is pre.
Okay, check it on the post.
Oh, okay. They'll save $12 million.
Okay. So what I think is going to happen is they're gonna try to trade him, which again that's a different filter. We're on overthecap.com looking at this right now. There should be another filter that you can click, to where you can like sort it by like if they are traded or cut, and that actually affects the cap numbers as well. Should be in the same.
Yeah.
Okay. It affects it for some, not all.
Yeah, his is still the same.
So they would just say 4 million. Okay.
But before and post. Well, hold on. I think I read it wrong the first time.
Okay.
They cut him. They're only having to pay $4 million of his $14 million contract.
Okay.
So they're saving 10.
Okay. All right. All right. And if they trade him, it's 12 million after June 1st.
Yep.
And for those who don't know the significance of June 1st in the NFL, basically that's when the rosters, or not the rosters, but the contracts for the players kick over into the next calendar year, the next season rather, because it's not actually measured in years, it's measured in accrued seasons. So once it goes into the next season, that's when the money starts counting for the next year's salary cap. So with that being said, if you cut somebody before June 1st, it's based on the previous year's, books, whatever. But you can designate 2 players that you cut before June 1st as June 1st cuts. There's like a weird thing that you can do there. And it'll spread out the distribution of the cap hit over both years. So it doesn't hurt you as bad. So we'll see how, teams use that. But, where do you think Malcolm Butler would end up going? Or do you even, what do you think he would get in return for Malcolm Butler if you traded him? Or do you think you would cut him? Or not?
I don't think we would cut him. But I think that we would probably get like a
2 or a 3.
I mean, if we're going straight for draft picks, then probably a 3 and like a 7. But I think the more likely thing is that we get like a very middle of the road tackle
on a team that is desperate for corners and flush at tackle.
Yeah,
that makes sense. And it's definitely possible. There are a lot of teams out there that be jonesing for some corners. I mean, I should know one of my favorite team is the one jonesing for corners, probably the hardest right now. But so what else you got for the Titans?
I think that's really about it. I don't really want to see most of these other people go.
What about did you already go break down your draft order?
I mean, I talked about their individual picks.
Or what? What projection are they?
They're 22nd.
Okay, so 22.
And then they have the first pick in the 6th round.
All right. Well, that'll I guess segue us nicely into my team, the Texans. We have 8 overall draft picks, and none of them are in the first 2 rounds. We have the 3rd pick in the 3rd round, the 3rd pick in the 4th round, a pick from Arizona, which I haven't looked up yet, but a 3rd pick in the 5th round, 3rd pick in the 6th round, another pick from Miami, a pick from New Orleans, and then a 3rd pick in the 7th round. So not a lot of draft capital to add to a roster that absolutely needs youth and help immediately. The Texans front office has a lofty task in front of it. Not even like mentioning all the crap going on with Deshaun Watson wanting out, and even if they can somehow talk him into staying or not wanting to leave, or that they're different from Bill O'Brien and Cal McNair's really not trying to be the Patriots of Texas, then maybe. But I think there are going to be some moves made after June 1st for sure. Now, some of these doesn't matter. Like J.J. Watt, I think he's going to get traded, and that'll free up $17 million of cap space for the Texans. And that's before and after the June 1st flop. I think Whitney Merciless is a prime trade candidate, and he would be traded after June 1st, and that would free up another $9.5 million. There's no way in hell that the Texans will pull off a trade for with Deshaun Watson until after June 1st. That they can't do it. They literally will. They'll take up like $21 million of dead cap space, and they literally just can't do it. So that leads me to some more trade and cut candidates before and after June 1st. Nick Martin, the center, he's due to make like $7 million, a little over. They could cut him and net like 6.8. Duke Johnson, they could cut him and add $5 million in cap space. Zach Fulton, they cut him, they'll net $2.25 million in cap space. Brandon Dunn would be $3.3 million net. And I don't think any of these players are going to get traded except for maybe Duke Johnson and J.J. Watt and Whitney Merciless. But I don't know exactly what you would get for J.J. Watt at this juncture. He's going to be 32, 33, 32, I think.
You almost think he might have some sort of say in where he goes, too. He might have a no-trade clause.
Maybe, but we'll see. I mean, he doesn't know what's going on. He wants to know if they're going to keep him around. So he's asked for clarity, and they haven't given him to him yet. So
I guess he probably does not have a no-trade clause.
So, so they're waiting to see what's developing for J.J. Watt. I think if they really, really, really wanted to, they could mess around and trade for like a back end first round draft pick or like a mid second. I don't know who the trade would necessarily be, but like maybe Green Bay or I could see him trading with the Bills. That would make sense. Or
Yeah.
or Green Bay, because he wants to go somewhere that he would win.
Right.
So I mean, potentially,
That would be nuts if he went to Green Bay.
it would.
Zadarius Smith and J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Game over.
And then you got Whitney Merciless, who's a prime trade candidate. He basically has not had more than 8 sacks, but like once. And I think he had like 11 and a half. But he's going to be 31 this year and is carrying quite a hefty cap penalty, especially because they just signed into a 5-year extension. Like, he's not that good. He's not. Like, he's not bad, but he's not that good. So I think they're going to try to get out of that and get younger at the position.
Makes sense.
I mean, and then, Zach Fulton and Nick Martin are both, they started at center and right guard all season. And they're going to be looking to get rid of those guys as soon as possible. So I imagine that they're going to get cut. Duke Johnson, I imagine somebody would trade for him. I imagine probably be like a third round pick. Hell, maybe you package him with J.J. Watt and you trade him to Tampa Bay, or you trade him to Green Bay or the Bills somewhere. Just let both of them go play for a little bit.
I also just feel like that they couldn't trade to most of those teams because of cap. But
Well, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
I haven't really looked at their cap spaces to necessarily say, but I mean, you could also look at the Eagles. You could look at the Seahawks. They've been friendly trade partners with the Texans. That would probably be something they'd be interested in. I don't know. They need running backs and they need defensive help. So, I mean, ideally that might work. But yeah, this team has got a lot of issues they got to work through, and they got to figure out who they are going into this offseason. If Deshaun Watson is not going to be the quarterback of the future, you should, get him out of town as fast as possible like he wants.
Very
or
true.
you need to do everything in your power to heal and mend the relationship that Cal McNair has basically forced on this franchise. This issue stems from terrible ownership, not bad GMing, not bad player development or player acquisition. It's literally the ownership. Bill O'Brien did not want to be the GM. He did not want to be in charge of that stuff. It's not something he wanted to do. They forced it on him. They basically were like, they had asked him enough times to where he was just like, fine, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm doing it, guys.
fuck,
Just stop asking.
Jesus Christ. I'll be the GM. Damn. But I mean, there's so many things that have gone wrong in the actual front office of the building that's really fucking the product on the field. And most of it is everybody trying to be the Patriots of the South.
Everybody wants to be the Patriots of the South.
Yeah. I mean, they keep bringing in all these people from New England. Jack Easterby and Nick Caserio go back a ways. All the Texans players hate Jack Easterby and have hated him for a long time. He doesn't really have a title per se. Nobody knows exactly what he does. But he's in the building, and he's making decisions, and he's whispering in people's ear. And it's getting to a point where they're going to have to purge him out of the building or let Deshaun go. And I think if you're a smart owner, you realize that there are generational talents out there, and you happen to have one of them at the quarterback position. Don't let him walk out the building. You don't do it. You can get a new executive football, whatever the guy is.
Whatever that guy is.
You can get a new Jack Easterby, and you can get a new guy to get you to get a cup of coffee. But you can't get a new Deshaun Watson.
It's accurate.
So Cal McNair, if you're somehow ever listening to this, man up, clean up the mess you made, and keep Deshaun Watson in Houston. Yeah. Colin, you got anything else?
Everybody just needs to be safe out there.
Hell yeah.
You stay classy.
Damn right. Like I said, that'll do it, folks. That has been the 21st episode of this sports show. I'm your host, Curtis Brown, and with me, as always, is Cullen. This has been a production of the Curtis Podcast Network. You can follow us on social media at Facebook, on Facebook at Curtis Podcast Network, and Twitter at Curtis Network, Curtis with an apostrophe. Also, a quick shout out to Arcade Dreamer for the instrumental version of Dangerous from his debut album, Born in the Midnight. Available anywhere music can be listened to, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, etc. Follow him on Facebook and Instagram at Arcade Dreamer Official, Twitter at Arcade_Dreamer, YouTube at Arcade Dreamer, and Bandcamp at Arcade Dreamer. Be good people.